Welcome to the After the Show Movie Podcast, brought to you by your hosts, Ascully and Cidtalk. We're addicted to movies. Are you? Hello, Cidtalk. How are you doing?
Hello.
Oh, I'm very loud in my headphones.
You want to try?
I didn't need to be that loud.
You want to start again?
No, it's perfectly fine.
Because you get the music going, right?
Yeah.
I'm fine. We'll just pretend like that never happened.
You're fine?
I'm good. What's the before the after the show discussion? This movie, audio, making tea, me playing The Sims.
Yeah.
That's it. It's very exciting.
It's all good.
All good.
I like it. We just watched a movie. It was really cool.
I think they can figure that part out because,
Yeah. All right. So it's Friday, May the 17th. This is After the Show. We're a movie review podcast. And on episode 839, we're looking at the epic movie, Dune Part 2. It's a 2024 movie. Releases on Blu-ray, 4K, streaming. It's out now, basically. You can go and get it anywhere you want. It's rated PG-13 from our friends at Warner Brothers, who sent us the 4K disc for review. Cidtalk, can you give us the synopsis of the movie, Dune Part 2?
It's the movie that comes after Dune 1.
Part 1.
And me explaining it to you. All I know is we made up a phrase. Game of Thrones in space.
Yeah, I would like to take credit for that.
Some galaxy or universe somewhere far, far away. Because we don't know where it is. But yeah. So you can just read what's on the box. Because I am not good at this one.
Paul Atreides unites with Chani and the Fremen while seeking revenge against the conspirators who destroyed his family. Is that good?
I mean, that's very, very brief. Compared to the...
That's what happens, though.
It is.
I mean...
I didn't feel like he was calculating to get revenge, but I mean, that's part of it, so... Yeah.
All right. So we saw Dune Part 1. It seems like a long time ago. It was during the pandemic, I think. So it was quite a while ago. Dune Part 2. I really enjoyed Dune Part 1, I must say. Did you?
I did. Even though I don't understand these movies that great.
Do you feel like you understand it better now, though?
I mean, I've just boiled it down to this. There's always an asshole who wants to rule the whole universe. And the more you have, the more someone wants to take. And the more you have, the more you have to defend it against someone who wants to take it. That's it. I mean, that's really the bottom line. It's every story ever told by any oppressed persons that have ever lived by oppressed, and, the good versus evil. It is the empire, right?
Well, George Lucas read Dune, and that was one of the reasons he made Star Wars.
Yeah, we're right on top of that shit.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's not a coincidence.
So I understand in the big view,
Yeah.
There's a drug on one single planet. Well, it's not just a drug, but it's used as a drug.
The spice.
It's not anywhere else, anywhere in the whole known universe, apparently. And so it does a lot of crazy shit that makes it a very high commodity. And so this particular place is very pivotal because, it's a resource that a lot of people can profit from and gain power with, et cetera, et cetera. So the soap opera aspect of people falling in love and mothers and sons and fathers and sons and daughters and all that is kind of irrelevant to get to the big picture. Who controls the spice?
Yeah. Now, it's based on a series of very complicated novels that is very dense and it's full of big words and... We haven't read the novels.
I'm not saying I wouldn't understand, but it's just, I don't know if I don't have the patience.
The novels are a lot, apparently, for anybody. They're very, very dense, very thick novels. There's 6 of them. These 2 movies only cover the first one. So that kind of tells you. I mean, there's a lot goes on in these 2 movies, right?
Yeah, I like complexity. I just don't know what it is about it that's kind of like,
sometimes to me, and I felt it during watching these 2 movies, it feels like it wants to make you think it's very complex, but actually, if you boil it down, it isn't.
True. The bottom line, again, it's just about power.
Like it's trying to be overly prosy. Lots of fancy names.
I know what you mean. Yeah. Literature-ish.
Yes.
Literature-ish.
And you do feel that.
Because you have also the Force, which is the witch ladies who are basically in control. If they want to control everything, why don't they just do it? Why do they have to manipulate everyone like pieces on a chessboard, right? So we've got that going on as well, like a layer of magical, mystical belief, prophecy, all that kind of stuff layered on top. So you have that to complicate things. And then what's complicated is this. And it's the same thing for me with some Star Wars, some other big things, even Game of Thrones. And no, I'm not an idiot. It's just that I guess subterfuge and spying and all the stuff about this one guy wants to run everything. So he has to now manipulate all these, again, pieces on a chessboard.
I mean, he's literally called the Emperor.
No, I just mean in any of these stories. There's a guy, almost always a guy, sometimes a woman, but rarely, who wants to manipulate everybody, and it's sneaky and shit. And then like in this one, you've got children being born to people only because it puts them in a position of power. And then you find that out later. All that kind of like soap opera stuff. That's what complicates it to me. But I'm keeping up better now. I'm keeping up.
What I like about this Denis Villeneuve version of Dune is it's really epic. The special effects are awesome. They're not too fancy, but they are fancy. Do you get what I mean? Mm-hmm. Do you like the design? Let's say it's more the design.
It depends. There are times when it's a bit up its own ass, you know, with the all whiteness, because the one place has a black sun. And I don't know what that would really look like, but it looks like you're watching something with a reverse negative light, but not really, like a black light. And that looks really like over the top to me. But then it's just making that world very different, which is fine. It's just that I was like,
Yeah, they used a thermal camera, I was reading, to get that footage. And it does look very it's weird as well, because it comes like in the middle of the movie when you've kind of got used to Arrakis and how brown and cool it looks.
Yeah, and I don't mind a different look. It's just that it was completely saturated. And the only explanation was this land with a black sun. And then it just looks weird and you don't have any other like...
Black hole sun. Yeah.
Other than that, I mean, I think it's very heavy in the like, look how cool our main guy and our main girl look in their outfits with their flowing pieces of torn cloth and their weird masks and their blue eyes.
They're like supermodels.
It's a little style over substance sometimes, but you know what? I've never lived on a desert planet, so I don't know what I'd be wearing.
No. And there are some cool action sequences in this one. There was not that many action sequences in the first one, to be fair. It was a lot of setup, wasn't it? Mm. But in this one, I loved the very first sequence where a spice harvester is dropped down and it shows you how efficient they are at killing everything.
Yes.
They take out all the men surrounding it and then blow up the thing. And it's like a SEAL team or something. They do it so they come out of the sand.
No, what we're talking about is they are the actual natives of the planet are trying to get rid of all of these assholes who are coming to take the spice to profit off of their oppression.
Yeah.
And so now when they drop the spice mining machines, which are gigantic, like the size of a mountain or size of a skyscraper, then our native peoples of the planet come in, swoop in and kill all the soldiers and try to get the machine to stop working. That's who they are.
I believe that it's happening. Those visuals are amazing. Like, that's why I say it's not too flashy. They just feel realistic. Mm-hmm. Like the big spice harvester seems to me like a real thing that is there. Clearly it's not. It's a CG. I'm assuming it's a CG. Or do they have they've built one? I
don't think so.
Like a set.
Because it does look good.
The Dragonfly helicopters, those are cool. The audio in this movie is tremendous. Like it feels like the whole room is shaking like half the time.
Oh yeah, when they're like...
Yeah, or if there's any explosions or the worms are coming, you feel like the worms are shaking the room up. Like it is pretty intense, this sound.
Definitely.
But then on the other hand, the sound's amazing. Like it's Dolby Atmos. It sounds fantastic. But then on the other hand, some of the actors are mumbly motherfuckers.
Very mumbly. Come on, people.
And that's nothing to do with the sound because the sound's perfect. It's just them. Like you're like, what is that guy saying?
Yeah.
I don't know. Because there were a couple of lines where I just didn't get it. Like I was like,
why is that a thing now?
It is a thing, isn't it? And it's not like, oh, I'm old and deaf. It's more. It's more. It's just like.
I get it. In real life, people mumble, but you know what? In real life, there is no other place where there are sandworms bigger than a fucking city. So let's not base everything on reality.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this is how it would look if you were on a black sun planet. Well, I know, but it doesn't make any sense. So.
And also, if somebody mumbles in real life, you can ask them, you can say, what did you say again?
Yes.
In this, you can't. You're just like, okay, I just, I kind of get the gist of what he was saying.
Yeah, I have to use context.
Yeah.
Kind of, sort of.
You just have to kind of go, okay, I worked out that he was mad. I guess what he said was something to do with him being mad, you know?
It was mostly mom. Witchy mom.
Yeah, she was.
She's a mumbler.
Yeah, and some of, who else was it? Oh, Javier Bardem, some of his dialogue at the beginning.
Sometimes, yeah.
And I don't know if that was his accent that he was doing was terrible, or
I don't think that's an accent.
He just didn't get the lines.
I think that's his accent, dear.
Oh, is that his real accent? Because
Yes.
whenever I've heard him, he doesn't sound like that.
I think that's him.
Well, he was overdoing it then, because there was times where I was like, that whole sentence, I don't know what he said. I get the gist of what he's saying, but I don't know. You know, I didn't get every word. Which is a thing, and Christopher Nolan's another person who is guilty of this. He says that I want realism, and sometimes you don't hear stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you're telling a story. So if the line that we might not hear is important, then that's not good.
Correct.
Unless you want us not to hear it. It's like a stylistic thing where you're like, okay, they're going to be talking about something, like Tarantino famously put a bleep, beep, like that in the remember in Kill Bill?
No.
He was talking about something that he didn't want you to know yet, but he put a beep. And that was a fun way of like, you know, I don't know what they're saying because he beeped it. He could have used the mumbly trick and that would have also worked, but, you know, weird. All right, so let's get on to have you anything else to say about the movie? Oh, there's clearly going to be another one, right?
Clearly. And I enjoy it. I enjoy this whole...
It's cinema spectacle.
Spectacle, yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, it's not, you know...
I don't know if it's as dense and rich as it thinks it is, though. There's a lot of flash going on, and I don't feel like I've got a lot of meat from the story.
Is it suffering from that syndrome where if you've read all the books, and we know that the writer-directors and everybody has read all the books intensely...
We hope.
That they can, as they watch and they create it, the whole story is right there in front of them already in their mind. And so me, as a person who's never read it, I don't have any filler. So when we do lots of weird edits, which I find really weird sometimes, like, and you seem to explain it away, but if you really think about it, I'm right. There's a point where Javier Bardem gives him a backpack and says you have to go across and survive 2 weeks. Right?
In the desert, yeah.
The very next scene we see is the young lady coming to help him, and then Javier's there, and then they're doing some crazy shit. There was nothing else to show me that he passed a test or that he survived on his own. He even said, be careful of the demons of the desert and the centipedes and the spiders that do trap doors. None of that happened.
No, I do think he should have at least had one, like, trouble there, at least.
There was nothing at all. He walked away.
No, I know there wasn't. I'm saying, I feel like there should have been something.
We didn't even see him do anything. We skipped on to the next part.
He did a funny walk.
Right, and then he skipped on to the part where he's now been accepted to be in training. So that was weird. There's a lot of other cuts that, like, there's a whole room full of people and there's big crazy shit going on. And then boom, the room is empty with one person sitting in it contemplating something. And you're like, how much time has passed? How did you get it? What? I mean, there's a lot of weird, it's almost like Star Wars editing, you know, that swipe.
Yeah.
Where you just go
like
from one
to the chase.
Yeah, there's no like storytelling editing. It's just boom, 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 boom. So that's a little bit unsettling sometimes.
All right, let's get on to the cast. Timothée Chalamet plays Paul Atreides. I am becoming a big fan of Timothy. I think he's really good. I think he was good in Wonka. I know some people didn't. I think he was. And I think he's really good here. He has like quite a range of stuff he's going for here. At the beginning, he's kind of like, he's a bit lighter than he is at the end. Well, he's very dark at the end, isn't he?
Yeah, of course.
So there is a big span of, he has to show love and not trusting people. And Some people show up from the past and all that kind of thing. You know, there's a lot going on with him, I thought. Do you like him?
I do. I was thinking when he was having the fight with Elvis, the guy who played Elvis is the guy who plays the ultimate sort of psychotic rival. And he wasn't that psychotic in the end. But, I mean, psychotic enough to just kill people randomly. But we didn't see a lot of him. It was sort of like Darth Maul.
Yeah.
He shows up and you're like, whoa. And then, oh,
that's that? Yeah.
But when those two were having their battle, I thought, ooh, I bet these two actors, knowing how the Elvis guy handled Elvis and knowing that Timothée Chalamet has a bit of intensity about him, that fight seemed more like they really wanted to go for it. You know, I liked that.
Yeah. It was quite a good fight, to be fair. Talking about the story of this movie, I didn't expect some of the things that happened. And I'm not going to spoil everything here, but there are 3 things that happened that I didn't think were all going to happen. You know what I'm talking about.
Not precisely, but I can guess.
Let's say 3 dispatches.
3 dispatches?
Yeah. Or let's just say deaths. So
okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
I know what dispatch means, but I was like, I'm thinking of something completely different, but I get you. I get you.
It was actually a surprise what happened. But the very end, maybe a little bit unsatisfactory because it's not finished. Because it feels like it's only just starting, right?
Agree.
So that sometimes puts a damper on it. Zendaya plays Chani. What do you think of her?
Oh, she's good. She's like almost the most intense, legit intense person in the movie. Some other people are intense like Mom, but it's not quite. It's a little.
She's a bit hummy.
A little
Mom.
Juicy, but I mean, she's been possessed now by the water of life or whatever, but she's a little bit hardcore. But yeah, I like this. I like the young lady who plays Chani.
Speaking of the mom, Rebecca Ferguson plays Jessica, his mom.
I mean, I like her a lot. It's just that she's really taken on this, like, she's like the witchy lady who's been trained to be the witchy lady to bear a child who will ultimately fulfill the prophecy to run the universe, right? So that's like a big deal. But then the moments of like, you know, it's just, it's like she went from being a person to being fully possessed.
Do you remember her in Doctor Sleep, the sequel to The Shining?
With the big hat.
I felt like she was playing almost that character again. You know, it's a little bit theatrical and over the top.
I get you.
Yeah. It's almost mustache twirling if she was super bad. Like it's theatrical, I would put it.
Kind of, yes.
Javier Bardem plays Stilgar.
He's taking it very seriously.
Like, I mean, he has a couple of funny moments.
He's hardcore.
But he is hardcore.
But he's good. He's right for that character, so I have no problem with that.
Josh Brolin plays Gurney. You remember Josh Brolin from the first one, right?
I no
I knew that was happening.
I was like, am I supposed to know that he's a thing? But okay.
When he turned up and it was like a big da-da, here he is. I was like, I'll look over at you and I'm like, you're like, who's this guy?
Exactly.
Well, that guy does turn up again. And I thought he was really good. I liked him in the first one too. Florence Pugh plays Princess Irulan. What do you think of Florence?
She's very serious.
She's not in it a lot.
All she's really doing is sort of chronicling. She's the daughter of the emperor of the known universe. So that's a big deal. We only really see her sort of taking notes about what's happening. She's very aware of all the politics and all the shit that's going down. And you're trying to contend with what is she? Because even he said to her father, Christopher Walken, you will make a powerful empress someday. And her eyes kind of lit up. But is she that empress, or is she the one that's like, I just can't wait for you to die so I can set everybody free? Like you can't tell what her motivation is. But now she's hooked up with our main guy.
In my mind, and I know nothing about the Dune book, she feels like she's one of those who ends up good. There's something good about it. It feels she's in with the bad.
She's terrible.
Yeah, but she feels good in a way. Like she's going to turn at some point.
Well, we don't know anything. She's neutral right now. We have
She's neutral, but she's with the emperor.
But she's just the daughter, and she's being trained, and now we're moving into new territory.
And Christopher Walken as the emperor. I love Christopher Walken. There's a bit of trivia. You know that Fatboy Slim music video he's in where he's dancing around? Mm-hmm. Like a bunch of the lyrics in that song are about Dune. somebody was interviewing him and they said, oh, it's cool now that you're in Dune. And you also did that Fatboy Slim music video, which was talking about Dune a lot. And he said, that was talking about Dune? I never knew that.
Yeah, because he didn't sing it.
No, he didn't. But he must have heard. He must have heard that a lot while he was.
Yeah, but did you know it was about Dune?
I did not.
Well, there you go. Why would he?
There are several lines from the other Dune movie in the song.
I'd have to examine it myself. I'm not sure if I trust the internet, but I'll trust you for now.
Trust me, it's true. Directed by Denis Villeneuve. He also directed Dune, Blade Runner 2049, Prisoners, which is actually a really good movie, and Arrival with Amy Adams. Remember that one?
Arrival had so much potential.
Yeah.
But it didn't fulfill the potential.
It had a big kind of scale like this movie.
Yeah, it had the big giant thing that just lands and it's just there. And then you've got all the possibilities. And it was a little bit style over substance yet again. I did love his Blade Runner sequel. It's very good. I'd like to see more Blade. Oh, Dave Bautista was in that one as well, remember? I think you're just, some movie franchises, you just sort of turn a blind eye and you just love them regardless.
Well, I mean, that was pretty epic and good. Like he did a good job of it. IMDB reviews, what are those?
Those are reviews people give on the IMDB.com, where they give 1 star to movies that they don't love. And then you kind of make fun of them because you do like the movie. And so you're like, idiot.
Well, the first guy says, very disappointing if you're a fan of the books.
Oh, that one.
They've deviated way too far from the story. And with the character Chani, it was so bad she is nothing like in the books. What was the director thinking? That's it.
Well, I need an explanation. I'm on board with you if you tell me how she different. How is she different?
He didn't tell you.
All right.
Second guy says, I don't understand all the hype. What a boring, bland movie. It's not even like the first part. It has too much indifferent dialogue. I prefer David Lynch's version. Avoid and waste. Don't waste your money.
Indifferent dialogue. Wonder what that means.
Don't know. Indifferent. I'm indifferent about it. And the third person says, it's unbelievably dreary and confused. It's remarkable how much praise this film has received. The novels are complex, political, emotional, and captivating, but this is slow and sullen. I'm afraid it's the people, not the effects, that are critical. Chalamet's monotone, rhythm-free delivery is no help.
I don't disagree that it's a little bit inactive all that we've really done is establish that he's now going to go on to be more powerful. We find out a couple of things about the family bloodline, but that's it. Like, we're trained to defend the place. We defend the place. He's moving up in the world. That's it. That's
what the second book or the first book is, though. So
right. Well, I have no interest in what their source material was. I'm just saying, if you look at the whole thing, a 3-hour epic movie, as you say, truly, we have a lot of action sequences. We get a little bit of character development, but it's not like, you don't travel around a whole bunch. We see the white place with the black sun and then go back to the sand, and we get the Emperor coming right to our doorstep, which is interesting.
Yeah, I didn't expect that.
Yeah, so it just seemed a little bit like, again, flash over substance.
Well, you should read the book.
No, thank you.
Come back to me when you've read it.
No, thank you.
Extras and conclusion. There are extras on the disc, over an hour of extras. So you get a lot on this disc. You get a 3-hour movie and an hour of extras. You also get digital code. That's an extra these days, Cidtalk. They used to, when you get like a 4K disc, it used to come with a Blu-ray disc and the 4K disc in case you didn't have a 4K player. Now, from this movie, I noticed there is no Blu-ray anymore. It's shrinkflation, Cidtalk.
Shrinkflation, that old chestnut.
They dropped one whole disc out of the box. Luckily, we had a 4K player so we could watch it. But imagine, you might get home and not have the player, right? You're like, huh?
Absolutely.
How am I supposed to play this? So let's give Dune Part 2 a score. I'm going to give Dune Part 2 a 8 out of 10.
Ooh, I'm going to give it 7.7.
7.7.
Correct.
All right. Well done. That's like ice skating scores. Can you give a point?
Yes.
Yeah. That is Dune Part 2. Thank you to Warner Brothers. Next week, we're going to be looking at a big blockbuster movie, which just came out, The Fall Guy. Have you heard of that?
The Fall Guy TV show?
The Fall Guy TV show. We're going to be watching the whole 9 seasons, or however many there were, and then reviewing them. No, it's the movie based on the Fall Guy TV show. It's Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt.
Okay, so not everyone knows what the Fall Guy is. It is a stuntman who is basically like weekly episodical. The Fall Guy solves a problem, sort of like Columbo or the Hulk or the A-Team. Same old.
He's the unknown stuntman that made Eastwood look so fine.
Who? Fall Guy?
Yeah, that's the song from the beginning of the show.
Oh, is it? Yeah. I don't remember.
I'm the unknown stuntman.
And the original was Mr. William Shatner, if I'm not mistaken.
It was not. It was the $6 Million Man.
Oh, was William Shatner not in it at all?
He was not. Not as far as I know, unless he was a...
Oh, you're right. Now I'm thinking about it. What was I thinking of?
Lee Majors. That's his name.
There's another show with Captain Kirk. I don't remember now what it was.
Right.
You're right.
I used to watch it. I thought the Fall Guy was really fun. It was fun in the way of like the Incredible Hulk, Starsky, all those.
Like I said, weekly episodical. Yeah. There's a big thing, and this guy's the only one who can solve it.
And it was, like he's a stuntman, but he's also like solving crimes sometimes.
Yep, like a superhero.
Yeah. Good show. And I'm sure the movie will be fantastic.
You don't know that. What are you even saying? You have no idea. All
right, movie recommendations. I'm going with Dune 1984 version from David Lynch. I know David Lynch hates it, but I still like it. It's ambitious and flamboyant. I would give it those two things. And my other one is a movie I was thinking if Dune 1984 is like the literary scholar version of sci-fi, well, this one isn't. It's Flash Gordon from 1980. It's more of the, popcorn movie in space. It's also really fun, though. Not in the same way as Dune, but Flash Gordon 1980, Dune 1984. They're my recommendations.
Mine are going back to the 20th century for action adventure. All the movies I've seen, not necessarily based on the quality. So we have Medicine Man with Sean Connery, American Honey with, what's his face? You know who?
Shia LaBeouf. Monsters, which I did like, kind of, sort of. No, what am I thinking of? Monsters or? Wasn't Monsters like a special effects movie?
There's the one with the guy I don't always like. You don't really see the monster, I don't think.
Like once or twice, maybe.
Or maybe it's different. I don't know. Look it up. I know I've seen it. Then we have The Beach. It's one of those.
The Beach is not a good movie.
And then Cold Mountain, also not great, but I've seen it.
No, The Beach, if you remember, is not good at all. It's Danny Boyle as well. That was unfortunate that he made that.
I don't remember it that much, but I do remember being a little bit like, oh.
Really? Like that kind of thing.
After Millionaire, right? Wasn't it after, or was it after?
It was before that, but yeah. It was like he came, coming off Trainspotting and stuff. You're like, oh, Danny Boyle. Yeah. This will be cool. And then you're like, oh.
Oh.
I mean, it's got Leonardo in it, but that doesn't even make it that good.
Yeah, it was not great.
Hey, Scully stuff. I've been playing a game this week called Dread Delusion. You've not seen anything of it, so I won't ask you any questions about it. But I will continue to tell you what it is.
Okay.
Dread Delusion, it's an open world RPG, and you're going through this world. What stood out to me about it was it looks like shit.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying?
Good start.
The graphics are very old school. So don't buy this game if you're want to see some fantastic graphics. It looks like Minecraft. It's that kind of graphics.
Interesting.
So it's very rudimentary. It's kind of everything seems like it's made up of blocks. But underneath that exterior, if you can get past that, it's an actual full-on open world RPG where you're going off, doing quests, fighting monsters, getting new weapons. That whole thing is in there, as though you're playing something like Skyrim, some fantastical game, or Fallout even. But it's an indie game at heart with this, but it's giant. It's like a giant world. And you go in there and you get magic and this thing going on. There's dragons in the sky. But the thing about it, like I say, is I wasn't sure what I was getting because I got a key to review and all I had was this picture to go off, and it's on my screen now, and it looks like this. It's this lady with like a a book and a sword, and she looks really cool. And I was like, oh, this looks cool. An RPG that looks like that. Well, it doesn't look like that. It looks like Minecraft, like I say. And I played it on the Steam Deck. So obviously, with it being like so old school, it plays really well on anything. And I played it. The unfortunate thing that happened is I played last week before it came out. And then when it went live on Tuesday, they deleted all the saves from the press.
Oh.
So you had to start again, which was, I'd got quite a bit into it. So that was, I mean, I should have known. But
bummer.
So it's from a independent publisher, like a lot of these, and it's classed as like horror RPG adventure. I would call it, it's like hack and slashing. You've played Skyrim like a long time ago, right?
Long time ago, yeah.
I think you played Morrowind, right?
Yeah, long time ago.
It's just like Morrowind. You've got a sword, you've got a shield. It's left and right triggers on your controller to control them. You can level up. You can specialize in different techniques. You can be like a magician or a barbarian. And you go off. There's a story running through it. There's no voice acting when you walk up to somebody. It's just text. But for a small indie developer, it's like an interesting way to make this huge story RPG without having to spend like 5 years making all the graphics supreme.
Right.
So Dread Delusion, it's on Steam. I think it's $17.99. They're fairly cheap, these games. And this one will definitely give you hours and hours of stuff because it's giant. Cidtalk, what's for dinner?
I'm going to go for the Jersey Mikes.
Michael's?
Yeah.
Yeah, and what is your advice?
My advice is very specific, but you can apply it to lots of things. If you're going to grow a garden, like I have a, what I call yarden area, yarden out because we have yard and I grow garden stuff. I go in and raise beds and pots and containers and areas. It's not a big patch that I've tilled up and all that jazz. It's like all over the place. And what I don't have yet, although I'm on the verge because I'm almost done building it, is a bench to sit on and look at everything. Like I go around and look at everything, but then when you go around looking at everything, like in every single pot and every single bed, it's like, oh, I need to pull out that weed, or, oh, I can move that plant over there, or, oh, that seed's not sprouting yet. It's like you're not really enjoying the whole of it. So make a bench or get a chair, some way to sit down and just enjoy it. That's advice from Monty Dawn as well, from Gardener's World, that you need to have a way to just enjoy what you've done, what you've built, what you've created, what you're growing, not just continuously work on it. Because then what's the end goal, really? Right. Yes, growing some food is the end result, really. But in the process, if every day is just stressful and boring, mundane tasks to get done, and you never really just sit down and look at it.
Are you saying that you should stop and smell the roses?
I don't have roses, but yes. If that is your interpretation, I'm on board. Yes. And that's it. It's pretty basic today.
Where is your bench going to be in your garden?
I don't know yet. I've been thinking about that.
Yeah,
I need a place because my garden area, mostly, I've got driveway garden, which is all containers, takes up about a 12 by 16 foot. We have a big driveway with a pergola built over it with benches now that my sister's helped me build. She bought and cut all the wood for me, and then we put them all together. So everything's going to be sitting on there, about 50 containers of peppers and tomatoes and flowers and herbs. Then everything else, it's hard to find a place where I can see everything. So, I mean, it's going to be heavy, but I can move it around.
Right.
So we'll see. I don't know. The location isn't important. What's important is doing it.
Yes. All right. Thank you, Cidtalk.
Bye.
So let me play the music. Some delicious music for you. Ascully.com, that's the place you can go to get this podcast. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. You can also go to Spotify, iTunes, Amazon, YouTube, TikTok, anywhere where videos and audio is available. Email feedback to me, ascully@ascully.com. Don't email Cidtalk. And stay classy, Mr. Denis Villeneuve, because that was an excellent movie.
I'm going to say think for yourself, because if you're not doing it, someone's doing it for you.